Hello, and welcome to Groundswell Educator Workshop Series. Groundswell has been connecting students, communities, and nature since 2009. Welcome to our virtual Summer Institute. This year it looks a little different. We will not be meeting in person, but we are excited to share all of this virtual content with you and hope you will enjoy. Groundswell is a coalition of community partners creating opportunities for hands-on environmental learning in West Michigan. Our mission is improving teaching and learning through community-based projects and fostering the next generation of environmental stewards. We do this by supporting meaningful, place-based education experiences in our community. Groundswell celebrated 10 years in 2019, and they are one of 7 local hubs of the Great Lakes Stewardship Initiative in Michigan. You can visit our website at gvsu.edu/groundswell. My name is Jessica Vander Ark. I've been the Groundswell manager since 2018. I am a science teacher, environmental educator, and outdoor educator with a Bachelor of Arts from Grand Valley State University. Groundswell supports educators who want to move beyond the classroom walls and teach students to solve real-world problems through exploring their own communities. We do this in several ways. One way is by providing free teacher workshops throughout the year. As you can see featured here are some of our workshops from the last school year. We talked about water quality, design thinking, and forestry, for example. We strive to keep our workshops fun, and we like to serve you good food, so we partner with local businesses to provide workshops that include a learning component and great food and drinks with friends. Tell me, have you ever milked a mushroom? This year, we also dove in a little deeper to the subjects of watersheds and non-point source pollution by investigating the Grand River. And we also visited the Kent County landfill and the Kent Recycling and Waste Facility. There we were able to learn a lot about what happens to our waste and what we can do to prevent so much waste from going to the landfill. The second way that Groundswell supports using place-based education in our community is through project support. We provide funding for schools to carry out their own projects. For example, what you see here is a couple of students surveying the property around their school to determine maybe where the best place for a rain garden is or where all the storm water is collecting. Some students on the top right just built a vermicompost bin and added the worms to the mix and are watching them eat their lunch scraps. The third is some students that are raising monarch butterflies. All of these are possible on your own campus. Groundswell project funding can also support a variety of field experiences, which allow you to explore the rich opportunities in our community. A Groundswell project can help you lead your students to a new experience they may not have otherwise had. For example, seeing the Lake Michigan shoreline, sampling a creek for macroinvertebrates, learning to identify bugs by the number of tails and legs, I'd like to take a minute to recognize our over 30 active community partnerships that are helping us educate the next generation of environmental stewards. They help Groundswell look to the future and make our decisions and decide which directions we need to go. We are very appreciative of these partnerships. We could not do what we do without them. But today we've not only gotten together to talk about Groundswell, but we've also wanted to talk to you about MWEEs. As you can see, it's no secret, Groundswell loves MWEEs. And we've had a long relationship with it. So why do we love MWEEs so much? You may ask yourself. Well, MWEES stands for Meaningful Watershed Education Experiences. Why do we like them though? It's a tool. It's a useful tool or approach to environmental literacy. It supports three-dimensional and experiential learning. It is content and standards-based, promotes job skills, 21st century job skills, and it provides opportunities for students to think and solve problems. You may notice that many of the benefits of MWEEs are similar to the benefits of place-based education to students. So, for example, the content is relevant. You show them real-world applications for the learning. They develop critical thinking skills. They get exposed to various careers. They get opportunities to engage with the public. They can develop a strong sense of their place. They can positively impact the community they live in. And MWEEs is more of a memorable experience and impactful. For example, you can't replicate the wonder on a child's face when they discover something new in a stream, as you see in the picture. Groundswell has many resources available online through our website, including lessons and even a full unit on creating MWEEs. By the end of the unit, students will implement a stewardship project within their community and will have a better understanding of the Great Lakes ecosystem. The unit addresses K through 12 standards and NGSS standards. You can also find on our website several watershed-related videos, such as an introduction to watersheds, or to learn more about how nutrients, sediment, and pathogens impact the river. There's also lessons about the history of the Grand River as well as its revitalization. So check it out on the Groundswell website. All of these guides are downloadable and printable. We also love the MWEE tool because it pairs well with Groundswell's mission to get kids outside, engaged in learning through investigating real-world phenomenon. The four essential elements of a MWEE are issue definition and research, outdoor field experiences, stewardship action projects, and synthesis and conclusions. Although this is the typical order of a MWEE, sometimes the order can be changed. As long as they are all there, the elements for a MWEE are in place. When it comes to issue definition and research, we recommend doing small group work to generate research questions, and then explore the different resources available to you to gather information and answer the questions. For example, looking at websites, at any printed materials you may have gathered, artifacts, talking to experts, and arranging experiences. For example, just walking and viewing a storm drain could generate some research questions such as this. Where does the water go when it runs down this storm drain? What is the name of the nearest water body it might empty into? How healthy is the water in that creek, river, or pond? How can we tell if the water is healthy? Once we find out, what might be causing the water to be healthy or unhealthy? And once we know, what can be done to improve the situation? All of that from walking near a storm drain. After exploring some issues, the issue selection grid can be used to decide what issue your class or group stewardship project can address. This is not creating a project plan. It is only gauging the interest. You start by creating criterion. These are questions that help you decide. For example, how interesting is this issue to you? How much do you already know about this issue? How important do you feel this topic is? How important is this topic to others in your community? You will rate each criterion on the subject that you are investigating. I put some examples up here, such as reducing waste, controlling invasive species, reducing runoff and water pollution, protecting habitat for native species, or you might come up with a different one. The criterion is rated from 1 to 5. 1 means the criterion is not met. 5 means that all the criterion is met. If you add up the totals, you should find some strong trends in the interest based on your criterion. This is a great tool to use when you are trying to gather student voice in the direction of your project, which is not always the easiest thing to manage. You can see more about using the issue selection grid on the Groundswell website under the BWET Unit G goal. There is also a shortcut here, tinyurl.com/BWET Unit G goal. Don't forget that extra G in there. Another key to the MWEE is the outdoor field experience. This can provide an opportunity to explore or investigate an issue or phenomenon that's local to you. It can help answer some questions you have and possibly provide data. It can be a field trip or an experience in the schoolyard. We prefer to use the term field experience because field trips are usually a one-time thing. A field experience is building something. Be sure and consider the resources available to you at each when you're planning these experiences. Look for the curriculum connections that can be made and look for personal connections. Does somebody's mom or dad work at a nature center or do some work that could be relevant, and would they come speak to your class about it? Another important thing is that these experiences are multiple, not just one time. The more you practice, it becomes more accessible to you and your students, and the weekly or at least regularly scheduled experiences tend to be more impactful in the long term. The MWEE brings it all together with synthesis and conclusions. That's the point where you use the research and evidence that you have collected to draw some conclusion, make claims. And then you take these claims and you communicate what you found to an audience. For an example here, we have a WGVU workshop that Groundswell helped put together. The students were speaking on water quality issues and stormwater. And the bottom right picture is our student showcase, which is an annual event that gives students the opportunity to speak about and display the work they've been doing over the year and interact with other professionals and explain the project ramifications. It's always a very good experience, the sharing part, because then they get to teach someone else and add to that collective community knowledge. So what are teachers expected to do? Stay involved and engaged in the learning process. That includes you as the teacher. That means that you're involved when they are learning and that you yourself are continually learning. Integration is key and it takes practice. It does not happen overnight. The key and the goal is to try to make it not separate from your curriculum, but weave it together to enrich the experience and enhance the curriculum. Always look for that local context in those local examples. You'll find it's more relevant to life within your community. It adds to the knowledge of your group about the place they live in and their families work in and they go to school in. And it helps them develop an appreciation knowledge for the green spaces nearby. And also just keep connecting those experiences to the overall learning goals. The variety of approaches and opportunities make a great three-dimensional learning experience for your students. Other resources available to you for learning about MWEEs can come from the Bay Backpack, which originates from the Chesapeake Bay program. The Bay Backpack website is loaded with resources and information about MWEEs and takes it into great detail. So I have here the websites listed. If you look for baybackpack.com/MWEE, you will start to dig into some of their resources. They have guides to how to lead a MWEE, how to implement a MWEE. They have videos, and they also have some more in-depth courses that teachers and other interested educators can take to go more in-depth into the MWEE process. The other cool thing they have is ideas for action projects. Looking for some new ideas? You can go through, see what other people are doing in the Chesapeake Bay. Maybe you'll get some inspiration. This sheet I have here is one of the tools that is available to you in the Educator's Guide to the Meaningful Watershed Education Experience Guide that is on the Chesapeake Bay program website, which is the Bay Backpack website. The Think Cloud is another planning tool for brainstorming about how to plan a MWEE. So feel free to check out the resources further. But once again, some of the best MWEE resources available to you are the community partners that live and work in your community. They play very important roles in planning and delivering or sustaining MWEE programs. They are environmental education professionals from school districts or local nonprofit organizations. They can all assist with MWEE planning and implementation, including brainstorming ideas and doing teacher professional development and providing assistance in the field. And these folks have been adapting to changing situations and have been changing their programming to work with you in more remote learning, distant learning situations. Beyond that, they do often have locations and facilities that they can offer to visit. So we hope that you take the time to review our Community Partner Spotlights playlist, which will be coming up next after this presentation. While you view the videos contributed by our partners and made just for you, please note what you think you learn or can learn about their areas of knowledge. What do you think their students could learn from them? And how could they help you teach? And with all the things listed here, with technical expertise, with experience in aligning curriculum to the content you need to cover, with assistance in the field, and just tips. It's good to have a support system. Lastly, I'd like to thank the NOAA Great Lakes BWET program for sponsoring today's workshop on the topic of MWEEs. Be sure and follow them on Facebook and use their hashtag. Here is my contact information if you would like to reach me. It's been a pleasure sharing this information with you. I hope you enjoy the rest of our program, and thank you for watching. Goodbye.